Time for another board game review, and this time we have... I guess it's a Mint review. Ah ha ha, just kidding. It's Mintworks. This was sent to me by Poketto and is designed by Justin Blasky. It's a board game, although those look like mints too. But that's part of the fun. Mintworks is a refreshingly light worker placement game. Easy to learn with a small footprint. It's the perfect filler game to keep you engaged time and time again. Let me show you how to play. So Mintworks is a light and straightforward worker placement game. During the game, you will have a limited amount of mint tokens, which represent your workers. Use your mint tokens to earn more tokens, take starting player, or buy plans and build them. Plans/buildings are how players earn points. Some buildings will give points, others may grant extra powers to their owner. Once any player has at least 7 points earned, or if there are not enough plans to refill the supply, the end of the game is triggered. The game will then be over at the end of the current round. Whoever has the most points provided by buildings in their neighborhood wins. So here are some core locations and then some advanced locations as well. Those are optional. Now, each round consists of a development phase followed by an upkeep phase. On your turn, you have two options. You may choose either place or pass. After completing one of these actions, the turn is passed to the next player. The development phase repeats until all players consecutively pass, ending the phase. Then proceed to the upkeep phase. So let's talk about placing. You choose an unoccupied mint placement space and place the required amount of mint tokens on it. So if player 1 decides to put a mint here, that gives them 2 mints. Player 2 goes, I'm going to take the starting player token. So that next round, I get first choice. And then they also get a mint. Player 3 could do crowdfunder, which is a advanced location, which lets them gain 3 mints, but every other player gains a mint. Very simple stuff. You keep placing mints or passing until everybody has passed in a row. If you've passed, you can play later as long as other players are still playing. Let's go into some of the other locations here. Specifically, let's go into plans. The supplier is where you can gain plans from the plan supply. And in order to use that, you gain a plan from the supply, and the number of tokens is determined by the desired plan's cost. So the truck here, if you wanted to gain this card, you'd have to put 2 mints in the supplier. Now, gaining is not the same thing as building, which is important. Now, the truck, what this does is you pay 1 mint less at the supplier, which means all future plans will be cheaper. This star here is points. This is how you win the end of the game, is by collecting a certain number of points. Now, if you wanted to build that truck, that's when you would use the builder. Place 2 mints on this spot, and the truck is in play. Now, from now on, you have that ability. Just to show you a couple others, the obelisk is 4 mints. It gives you a star for every face-up building in your neighborhood. The mine, during the upkeep phase, it gives you mints, and it's worth a star at the end. The temp agency lets you use an occupied location space. If somebody has taken a spot you'd like, the only requirement, however, is that in order to use it, you must place 1 extra mint plus the locations requirement. If you wanted to use builder, but both spots were blocked, like so, then in order to trigger that spot, you would have to put 3 mints here, 1 plus the requirement. The wholesaler and the lotto, in order for these to trigger, you need to build their respective deeds. So for example, if you end up building the lotto, what this does is this opens up, and this lets you gain the top plan from the plan deck. Also, if it's occupied during the upkeep phase, you gain 2 mints. So this can be used by anybody, but the owner of the deed gets a bonus. The wholesaler, again, if you have the deed for it, if this is occupied during the upkeep phase, you gain a mint. Otherwise, anybody who uses that space gains 2 mints. So now that we've gone over placing mints and developing, once everybody has passed, it's time for upkeep. First, you check to make sure if anybody has 7 or more stars on their buildings, because if they do, the game ends and scoring takes place. Otherwise, you refill the plan supply up to 3 plans. Oh, there's a windmill. If it's not possible to fill it, the game ends. Then, all the buildings you have with upkeep abilities, like the mine, will trigger and give you the respective bonuses, like mints. If there are any mint tokens on deed locations, The owners of those locations gain those upkeep bonuses if they are filled. And then all mints on these spaces here go back to the supply, not to whoever placed them on the cards. That's why it's important during the game. If you want more mints for your next round, you got to make sure to do producer or these things, or because you don't get workers back that you place. After all that, each player gains 1 mint token at least, and then you go back to the development phase, and that's it. You just go back and forth between placing and passing, filling up these spots. You're trying to gain these plans and build them because you're trying to get at least 7 stars. Otherwise, there's upkeep and gaining more mints. You're building your little engines. Here are some more advanced buildings, like the swap meet. You can swap these out depending on the game you want to play. Place a building or plan from your neighborhood into the plan supply, then gain a plan that lets you switch out plans. The recycler, which lets you lose a card from your neighborhood to gain mint. If a building, gain equal to its current star value plus its printed cost, otherwise gain equal to its printed cost and star value if you don't want your buildings anymore. A lot of these cards are just simple, they give you 2 stars, but certain symbols may be important for certain cards. For example, like this one, the landfill. It's 3 stars, but you gain 1 fewer star from each of those leaf buildings in your neighborhood. Co-op during the upkeep phase, gain a mint and choose another player to gain a mint. Once the end of the game triggers, whether it's if somebody has at least 7 points or though there are not enough plans, you count up the total number of stars each player earns from buildings in their neighborhood. Whoever has the most stars in their neighborhood wins. If there is a tie, whoever has the largest neighborhood, aka most buildings, wins. That's pretty much it. Build those plans, try to end your racing to get those stars. So first off, this package is brilliant. It's definitely tricked a friend into thinking actual mints were in here, so that's great. Of course, none of that matters if the game sucks, which is why I'm glad to say the game is also fun. It's light, it's breezy, a really nice introduction to worker placement games. I would almost prefer it to be a little longer, but I would much rather a game be too short as opposed to too long. And of course, you can just change the number of stars required for victory. That's not really like a big deal. A neat thing about this worker placement game is that you aren't guaranteed to get any workers back. So unlike most in this genre, when you where you just get them back, you have to think, okay, if I don't do any actions where I get mints back, I'm only going to get 1 at the end of this round. Especially if you don't have any upkeep cards. You are stuck with only what you have left. This is something that caught me off guard at first, because usually I'm used to, okay, I place my workers, take them back. But what's nice about this game is that you don't actually need a lot of workers to win this game. In fact, this game is just essentially a race, right? Instead of building up a super complicated engine to generate lots of resources and get 20 mints a turn, you can do that. But really the point is to grab stars left and right. Okay, I'm going to build that, play it, or gain it, build it as fast as I can. This results in a game where it may feel like it's over too quickly, but it's also satisfying to snatch victory away from others with a few smart, quick moves. Like, oh, you think you're going to get that building? I'm getting that building. Bam! 7 stars at the end of this. And I steal the victory. So yeah, if you're looking for a filler game that is, first off, extremely portable. I mean, it's literally the size of a mint tin. But also has enough meat on its bones where it's satisfying to play. This is a solid choice. Come on, look at this. That's brilliant packaging. It's very fun to trick people with.